world has always needed heroes. Those that put the fate of business and technology squarely on their own shoulders. And as time has raged on, devouring moments with no remorse, it's the heroes we remember. Legacy is their prize. With the advent of AI, the very nature of our heroes has changed, and so has the battleground. Without human connection, there is no survival. You, our heroes, need support from those that live and breathe your reality. A common bond, an oath to support one another. There is refuge here in the power of community. There is inspiration here at the hands of the wise. There is purpose here at the dawning of this new day. To expand and forge bonds through the great responsibility you've inherited. The fate of MSPs will be decided today. And we turn to you, heroes, in the critical crossroads of humans and AI. The choice you make today will ignite a future of resilience, innovation, and connection. So light the torch, rally your teams, and let's rise together as one nation.
Please welcome Peter Kujawa, EVP and GM for Service Leadership and IT Nation, ConnectWise.
Wow, amazing. Welcome to IT Nation Connect Global 2025. We are so excited to have you here. We have over 4,000 of you here joining us this year. In fact, we are up 10% year over year in MSP attendance. Incredible. Every year, we continue to get more and more first-timers joining us. This year, 40% of you. How many of you here are here for the first time? Welcome. It's going to be a great week for you. And 21% of you are Evolve members. We're going to talk more about Evolve later. Really, really important part of the IT Nation community. So before we get on to some of our content, we just wanted to let you know, if you haven't noticed already, we listened to your feedback from last year and previous years, and we made some big changes to the event for this year. And based on the registration numbers we've seen, you seem to have liked the changes that we have made. First, our automation hub. We added a section that's entirely focused on automation and AI and RPA, et cetera, building more efficient MSPs. We took all of those sessions and we put them into the same hallway. So if you are here to learn more about how to make your MSP more efficient, you'll find the Automation Hub, you'll be hanging out there, all of the content, 56 sessions are there to help you become more efficient. The most recognizable change, though, we made was the one that'll start tonight. We heard you. In past years, our big party was on Friday night. And we heard feedback that said, you know, we love the party. We love IT Nation. We love being here for the whole week. But you know, we're a values-based organization and community, and we didn't love sending you all home on a Saturday to your families. So we made the decision to not only move the party to tonight to give you your Friday night back, and if you want to get home, get home. You can catch a flight home Friday night. If you want to hang around Orlando and enjoy the time, you're welcome to do that. But either way, we're going to wrap up on Friday afternoon, and we moved the big party from Friday night to tonight, and what a party it's going to be. Goo Goo Dolls are going to be headlining the party tonight at 9 o'clock. You may have noticed we've got a couple of dozen guitars sitting off to the side of our stage, not the normal thing for an IT Nation keynote. So the party will be back in here. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But also, IT Nation was built on the go-giver philosophy. And for 3 years now, we've been raising money for Canines for Warriors. It's our official charity of IT Nation. And we've raised enough money, in fact, that we've been able to pay for a full dog and warrior sponsorship. Rufus, the dog that IT Nation has paid for, is here and will be on stage at the party tonight. And our goal tonight, it's almost $50,000 to put a dog and a warrior through training and all of the things that we need to do to get a dog and warrior combo out there. Our goal for this event this year is to raise $50,000 so that we can cover the cost of another warrior and another dog being fully trained. So the QR code is up there. You'll see that throughout the night tonight. And of course, on Friday, we moved our celebrity keynote from a morning keynote to early afternoon. Gary Sinise will be joining us. Speaking of a go-giver, I think most of you probably know Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan, but Gary Sinise is going to be an unbelievable guest for us on Friday. He's known for so much more, most notably the Gary Sinise Foundation. And when you hear this story on Friday, it's going to blow you away. I think you're going to love it. And after that, we'll have a farewell celebration following the Gary Sinise keynote. And again, after that, you're free to go, free to hang around or enjoy Orlando. So while the parties are important, the party tonight's going to be a blast. Tomorrow night, Universal Studios will be great. We know that the real reason that you come to IT Nation Connect and our big differentiator is our content. Our content doesn't happen on its own. We get speaker submissions and we take those and evaluate them. But we went a step further and we added content track leaders, many of whom are not even ConnectWise employees or IT Nation employees, to lead the content curation. And you're going to be blown away by the quality of the sessions this week. Whatever you're here to learn about, we've got a session to cover you. So I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our content track leaders. They've been working for months to make the content as best as possible, and we think you're really going to appreciate it over the next few days as you go through the content. And speaking of thank yous, this event would not be possible if it wasn't for the incredible support that we receive from our solution provider sponsors. Without supporters like them, and you're going to be able to see them all in the Solution Pavilion, we simply would not be able to make this event happen at the level that we do. And our solution partners are exactly that. We view our solution partners as symbiotic to the MSPs that are here for the event. Without great solution providers providing innovative technology to make the MSPs do what you do, you would not be able to be successful as MSPs. And without a thriving MSP community, our solution partners would not be able to thrive. So I won't go through all of the names up here, but please, our Solution Pavilion opens at 6. Take time to go around the Solution Pavilion, meet with our solution partners, learn about what they can do to improve your business. I think you're going to be amazed at what they've come here to do for you this year. And last, on the bottom, you see our communities listed. We have 9 communities that are here as part of the IT Nation Community of Communities philosophy. And they are here so that you can learn about their communities, and so take time to meet them as well. So let's hear it for our sponsors and for our communities. But I'd especially like to thank ThreatLocker, our diamond sponsor. Tomorrow, ThreatLocker will be doing their keynote right after our Thursday innovation keynote. And speaking of ThreatLocker, you do not want to miss Friday after Gary Sinise. ThreatLocker is giving away a 2025 Mustang Dark Horse car to one of the attendees who is here in person at the end of the keynote. So you not only want to be the keynote for Gary Sinise, but wait till you see this car. If you haven't seen it yet, it's unbelievable. You can see it in the Solution Pavilion. So thank you again to ThreatLocker. If you're not familiar, IT Nation every year does a contest called Pitch It. Pitch It is designed for startup solution partners, and it's a competition, it's a global competition. Every year, startups compete to enter, and this year we had 22 startups participate in the program. It goes for most of the year. They learn how to build their businesses, they learn how to engage with the community, how to build their brand, etc. And it's our 7th year of Pitch It. Today we narrowed it down, and today our 3 companies, our 3 finalists competed, listed here: Miso, Threat Captain, and Strategy Overview. And congratulations, the winner of Pitch It 2025 is Strategy Overview. Congratulations. So back to valuable content. IT Nation Evolve Peer Group, it's an unbelievable year for us this year. We are celebrating 25 years of IT Nation Evolve. Less than 15% of businesses survive 25 years. And so for Evolve, 25 years has meant 25 years of building thousands of businesses, tens of thousands of legacies and lives, and affecting the community in a way that no other organization has been able to affect this community. So a shout out to all of our Evolve members in the audience. Can you please stand up? So for those of you who are not Evolve members, our Evolve members have a ribbon on the bottom of their badges that says that they're in Evolve, and they would love to talk to you. I've been talking to them over the last 2 days at their meetings. They would love to talk to you who are not active in the community to learn about the power of Evolve and what it brings to MSPs that are participants in it. So please stop them and ask them, if you see them, what makes Evolve so successful. And a special thank you to Arlen Sorensen. 25 years ago, Arlen and 4 other IT companies in Iowa decided to get together and meet about the impending doomsday event of Y2K. Well, of course, as your laughter indicates, that did not come to fruition, fortunately, but they realized that that meeting was really valuable, and they got together again and again. And in 2000, Arlen decided to form HTG, which ultimately was acquired by ConnectWise and became IT Nation Evolve. So if it wasn't for Y2K, Evolve would have never happened. So today, 25 years later, we have over 650 companies worldwide meeting every quarter to share best practices and to make each other more successful. So congratulations to Arlen. And you may or may not realize it, but today, Evolve is not just for owners. That we have different levels of peer groups for all levels of leadership and leadership development and all sizes of MSPs. So there's role-based groups for service executives, sales, security, CFO, COO, and others. And we are launching this week a new, smaller partner version of Evolve that's virtual called Evolve Essentials. Stop by the Evolve booth to learn more about all these wonderful programs. If you're not sure where the Evolve booth is, come to the ConnectWise booth, and when you see all the Legos stuff, you'll know you found the right place. That's the Evolve booth. And we have breakfast to help teach you about Evolve. If you're interested, on Thursday and Friday, you can register here or stop by the booth. All right, so for those of you who are hoping that I'd bring along some service leadership data that you could geek out on, you're in luck. Let's dive into a few things that are going on in the industry. First thing, we are in the middle of the best 6-year run ever of industry profitability. The best in class have made more money in the last 6 years, the median have made more money in the last 6 years, and the bottom quartile are losing less money than they ever have before. Very exciting. But there is a big difference in performance, and the opportunity that's available to you if you're not taking advantage of this is tremendous. Best in class last quarter made at least 17.4% adjusted EBITDA, and they averaged 23.4%. The bottom quartile, on the other hand, were 5.7 or under, and they averaged 0.7%. And this also meant that 8% of MSPs last quarter lost money. Now, that's 8% more than should. We never like to see anybody losing money. But 2 years ago, 28% of partners were losing money. Okay? And keep that in mind when you look at revenue growth. This chart shows organic managed service revenue growth going back to 2018. And what you see is historically, the industry has averaged about 12%, plus or minus 2%. And we were doing that leading up to COVID, started to decline going into COVID, and then as an industry, we were off to the races. High water mark, 25% at the end of Q2, of 2022. Okay? But as fast as it went up during COVID, it came down. And it went down as low as 8.2% in Q3 of 2024. And these are 4-quarter rolling averages, so it's showing trending data. And as it went back up, we are climbing back up. We are now back in that range of 10 to 14%. We're at 10.6%. Okay, so 2 points with this. Number one is, even though that profitability pop in the middle was really exciting, about 8 to 10% of that was fueled by inflation, driven by wage inflation. You all had to increase prices much faster and much higher than you normally would have to keep up with wage inflation. Wage inflation hurt profitability. So today, partners are doing better with the growth rate that we have than they were back then when things were crazy from a revenue growth standpoint. Okay, so the industry was great before COVID, it's great today, and it'll continue to be great. So don't get too hung up on the revenue growth. However, when I say that the industry is growing 10.6%, in reality, 58% of partners are growing less than that. And 23.9% of partners are growing managed services 0 or less percent. Okay? That's a concern for us. Yes, we have some partners that are growing really, really well organically, but everybody needs to grow really, really well organically, and we are here to help. Okay, first of all, from service leadership standpoint, make sure you're investing at least 14.2% of gross margin dollars in marketing. Invest in growing sales and marketing. But second, stop by the ConnectWise Partner Program booth in the Solution Pavilion. The Partner Program is there to help provide you guidance and funding to fuel your sales and marketing efforts. Make sure you are taking advantage of it. In addition, we have 14 sessions over the next 2 days on sales and marketing that will provide you content. And last is we have a focus for next year on sales and marketing content throughout Evolve and IT Nation. Now, of course, our other focus on content is AI and automation. Now, while there's a lot of excitement, as Rob said, if we're being honest, there's also a fair amount of fear out there, a fair amount of concern. I get questions from partners a lot in peer group meetings and in the hallways. One partner even asked me, will the managed service industry even exist in 3 to 5 years? It reminded me of a quote I saw. This came from an article, managed service providers will be obsolete in the next 5 to 10 years, except the article was from May 2nd, 2011. Those of you who were in the industry back then remember. I remember going to an event in 2011 and talking to owners. I was new to the industry, and it was really depressing. They were all talking about how the industry was going away, no more SBS server. All the cloud vendors are talking about how everything's going to work perfectly all the time, and no need for help, right? Exchange servers moving to the cloud. What are we going to do for projects? Okay. The word was they wouldn't need us anymore. If we'd listened to those folks back in 2011, we would have missed record growth, record profitability, record valuations, record M&A activity. In short, the best run ever of the industry. But make no mistake, there is a challenge ahead. We talk about curve jumping in Evolve. What is curve jumping? Well, in every business cycle, there's growth, there's a plateau, and a decline. And the curve jump happens when you jump from the plateau after the growth over to the next curve so that you can continue to climb. This happens in every industry, and it's definitely happening in ours. If you look at our era, we've gone through really two curve jumps, and we're in the middle of the third one. The first part of our industry, on-site first. Your contracts were based on somebody goes down, I got to roll a truck, I got to get somebody on site as fast as possible. My SLAs revolve around that. Everything was built to be in proximity to my customer base. RMM tools provided us the opportunity to do most things remotely and to do things covering a larger area. Geographic limitations went away. We entered the remote first curve. And whether you realize it or not, starting last year, we have entered the newest curve jump, the automation first era. It's exciting. We have a great opportunity. Service multiple of wages from service leadership has shown a lack of improvement in service efficiency outstripping service wage cost. But we now have the opportunity going forward to improve this, to really take advantage of the financial opportunity that this brings for every MSP. The automation-first era should take our industry to the next level. And to discuss this opportunity more with you, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the CEO of the CEO of ConnectWise, Manny Rivelo. And please make sure you applaud really loud. Manny's my boss. So Manny Rivelo.
All right. Thank you, Peter. So, how's everybody doing? All right, come on. I haven't even shown a slide. You can't be bored already. Let's try it again. How is everybody doing? There we go. That's much better. Hey, it's my honor to be here. It was a year ago in 17 days that I joined ConnectWise. And I had an opportunity to speak to all of you a year ago about our strategy, our direction, where we were going. Now, it's a year later. And I've gotten a lot of input, advice, actually some counseling from some people. And I have a perspective of where we're at, a much better perspective of where we're at and I appreciate all that input. And all that input boils down to three things that you want from us as a company. You've asked us to innovate, make sure that we're moving with speed and are innovating and meeting your needs so you can drive your business going forward. You've asked us to improve support. You said, I don't even know who my account manager is. I'm not sure who my partner success manager is. And if I call, I may not get a call back. The third thing you said is, can you be a little easier to do business with? If I need to fix like a billing issue, it takes too long. It just seems to go into this black hole as an organization. And you know, these were hard things to hear, but look, mea culpa, this is on us as a business, ConnectWise. So I sat there and I said, okay, we need to make some changes. And the first thing that I knew I had to change is I had to bring in some talent who could help us scale and grow the business and position us to be world-class. So we brought in a whole new leadership team, promoted some individuals, brought in some new folks. I want to introduce you to a couple of them because they're all here, and we're here all week, so please find us. The first one, and this individual actually wants to meet you because, I'm sorry, go back one slide, because he is our CRO. Joe Mercurio, why don't you stand up so they could get a camera on you so they can have your face as a full. Now, he will find you. We also brought in Mary Francis, and Mary, when you stand up for a second, she runs everything post-sales. She's been making some incredible changes inside the organization. So everything from onboarding, support, renewals, you name it. And we also brought a new CPTO, and that's David Rassapor. And please stand up, David. We brought in, I hate to say this, 250 years of experience into the organization and over $100 billion of revenue in businesses that are thriving today to bring that experience here for our change to you. And then we've changed the culture. And it starts with this concept of MSP obsession. We're here for you, period. We're here to support you. We're here to drive the business that you need to support the SMB. The second thing is this concept of high velocity and low chaos. Innovate quickly with quality. Only talk about what you have that scales. So it's a very simple concept and something that David and the whole engineering organization take to heart. The third is collaborate. Please connect the end-to-end process. You're running a relay race, but you don't run it on the same days across the business. So how do we create a team that collaborates and a team that has extreme ownership? We own the issue. If you come to us, we own it. It's our job to resolve it some way, somehow. And the last is this concept of a growth mindset. I don't get confused. This company grows ConnectWise. If you grow, you only grow if the SMB mid-enterprise grows. So we got to pull the thread of the solution from there to here. And that's what we set out to do from a culture perspective inside the business. So we're different. And I wanted to show you one slide and kind of just this little bit of what we've been doing. And I'm not going to go through the whole slide. But on the innovation front, and David will come up tomorrow with his team and talk about it, we made massive enhancements on the RMM, on the PSA, on the RPA, and we'll go through those in great details. We launched a new SIM, and as my UK individual likes to say, SIM, because there's an E in SIM, but we launched a next generation SIM inside the business. We changed the billing also of that next generation SIM inside the business, and we've launched much more. On the partner support side, we started out, Joe and Mary Frances sat there and they said, well, hang on, they don't know who our PSM is. They don't know who our support manager is. We have changed the compensation for everybody inside the business that touches you, and they only get paid if you grow your business. So their job is to make sure whatever you buy gets deployed, gets installed, gets used, gets renewed. We change their compensation and make sure that we are aligned to your success. This is not about selling you technology. This is about you consuming the technology that we have to better your business. And we made investments like on this show. Peter didn't highlight it. This is the largest IT Nation event ever, Connect. We had the largest one in Asia. We had the largest one in EMEA. And this is the largest Evolve event. So we continue to make investments in the community because it's a go-giver community and you learn from each other. And then on the ease of doing business, it used to take us months to onboard products. Mary Frances and Arturo and the team are doing it to first value in 2 weeks. So we've improved the cadence much faster than ever before. And some of you said, please, as I go from like automate to RMM, can you help us? So we put tools together and we put a dedicated migration team to help guide you and take you from point A to point B. And that's just a small sample of what we've been working on. And I'll tell you, you're going to be blown away what we're going to do this year from you as an organization. Now, I'm going to ask you for one more thing. We were trying to give these out when you were walking in. There's a ConnectWise chip, and it looks like this. On the way out, you're going to get this chip. When you go to the pavilion, our booth, you're going to see 6 cylinders, and vote on the feature that you want David and the engineering team to give you. We could have done this electronically, but we figured it'd be more fun so you could see it and you could see how these cylinders are growing. But we want to hear from you out of these features what you want, and we will be there. So if you want answers to your roadmap, happy to give it to you there. If you got a billing complaint, we're there. As a matter of fact, we have a booth to do that. If you want to talk about migration, we're there. So please come see us after this. Now, I didn't really come here to talk about ConnectWise, but I did want to set the stage that we're significantly different. I came here to talk about what you've already heard, the changes in the industry. I've talked to this concept of Industry 5.0, and the first 3 changes, well, we sort of lived a little bit through these, and we are beneficiaries of these changes, but we're sort of living in this 4.0 world. And if you think about it, it's the world of digitization. We've all gotten digital. We have now our digital footprints out there. This is the world where cloud and SaaS and a world now that has AI. Now, who would have thought approximately 2.5 years ago, and I remember exactly where I was. I was in Australia when I thought I was going to a meeting to a bank to talk about our products, and all they wanted to talk about was, hey, what's this Chat GPT? You probably remember when you first heard it where you were. It's only 2.5 years later. It's incredible how it's transforming everything we do. The way we work, the way we play, the way we learn, everything we do, and it's something that we have to think about. And I'll tell you, this change is only begun. There's a whole other industry emerging. This concept of superintelligence, where the agents, where the technology is more intelligent than human being. It's a concept where you have this concept of recursive self-learning, where AI teaches itself how to be better. It's also going to be expanded through things like quantum computing, which are around. So we're going to have a lot more, orders of magnitude of more computing power to be able to run larger and larger LLMs. And then there's this concept of robots, right? Robotics, that is also going to show up in our lives. It was about a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago. Who saw, just a quick show of hands, who saw the 1X Neo? Anybody seen it? Just a few hands. You should go look at it. It's and I'm not promoting for it. I don't own stock or any of that. But what it is, it's basically a robot that could clean your house, can do your dishes, and could do your laundry. And when I heard that, I called my wife, because those last two things, we need them for the kids, right? But the reality is, this is showing up in our world. So we got to get used to this technology and the pace of innovation there. And look, I hate always putting quotes, because sometimes they come back to bite you. But I will tell you, the MSP of today will not exist in just a few short years. You will all look different. And you got to get used to that change, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that change. Now, I'm certain this is going to happen. Because first, the amount of money that's going into it. $500 billion roughly is going to go into this next year. The other part is the other transformations you've seen. If you take a look at things like the internet, it was funded by Sand Hill Road down in Silicon Valley. It was small companies. If you look at the webification, it's still Silicon Valley. If you look at the early days of cloud, it was Salesforce, it was Silicon Valley. This is not only being funded by that, it's being funded by the biggest companies in the world who are driving this. So the probability of success is higher, and it's being driven into everything we do. The second thing is how it's showing up. Software is projected to grow at 45%. But the light blue line, that's AI. AI is showing up in the software you buy, and you'll see it. It's in our products, and the software your SMB buys. So it's there. It's something we have to deal with, and something that's going to improve our productivity. And then you might hear this concept in this singular event that, there's going to be 83 million jobs lost in the SMB market in the United States. I don't subscribe to this. Maybe it happens someday, but I don't subscribe to it anytime soon. And obviously, we monetize, as a business, the end user. So fewer end users, fewer devices. We price per user, per device. In theory, could hurt our revenue. And not at all. Because we're going to a world where every one of you, every individual contributor will be a manager. You will be managing agents to make you more productive. So managers will manage people and agents. Individual contributors will manage agents. And every one of those agents, and you're going to have dozens of them around you, has an identity, has to be secured, and it's an opportunity for monetization inside the market. Now, AI has a stack. It's a 5-layer stack. At the base is electricity. All the conversations that we're having in North America about electricity, we've become pro-nuclear because we need to produce electricity, and that's a form of clean energy. And then you have these chips and systems. NVIDIA kind of leads that pack. But AMD's there. AWS just announced a data center 2 weeks ago in Indiana, $14 billion data center with their chips in it. And you're looking at all the hyperscalers building chips. So the chips and systems, although ruled by NVIDIA today, will grow. The infrastructure players are all building these massive data centers to enable these workloads to happen. And 2.5 years, people realized there was a company called OpenAI that had ChatGPT, and now we've learned words like Claude, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, and many, many other LLMs. All of this stuff, the beneficiaries of all of this stuff, and I'll say it again, the beneficiary of all of this stuff is the applications. And those applications are showing up at a very fast pace. Whether you write your own application, whether you consume a horizontal application like a Microsoft application, or whether it's a vertical application for your business, specifically to run your business. And that creates two opportunities for all of us. The first, which is services, is all about enablement and consulting services. And look, there's not a lot we can do, or I can do, or the company can do to help you there. This is your task to take on. We'll do enables and we'll do ConnectWise training, but this is how you build your practices around that. And what I will point out is whether you do a horizontal solution set or a vertical solution set, every one of these industries is doing something. If you think about finance, they're looking about AI-enabled risk management. And it's out there. There's applications that are emerging, and yet financial services might be able to do that. But legal, a small legal firm who's doing AI-enabled contracts, who has all that PII information, may not know what tools to use, how to use them. So one of the things that you can think about doing inside your business is implementation of these core services. If we can enable these core AI services, we will help the SMB prosper, and it will open that opportunity that the previous two speakers talked about. And it starts with this concept of enablement. The SMB needs you. They don't know how to get ready for AI. They don't know how to scale it. They don't know how data is a requirement for it. Series of services you could build there. The second thing is secure. How do I deploy AI safely? How do I maintain trust and compliance necessary across horizontal or vertical solutions? Third is, how do I empower people? Even after I do all of that, I got to change the culture. I got to help the SMBs use the technology so they can work faster, smarter, better, and get an ROI out of that business. And the last is this concept of serve. It's how you become the trusted advisor, because the journey for AI will last for decades to come. So the need to maybe have a fractional AI officer inside the business, somebody who consults with them, to tells them, yeah, here are the applications you should be using, here's how you do it, here's how you get to the next wave of AI, how you go from automation to machine learning to a generative AI, how do you go to agentic AI and maybe superhuman intelligence. So there's a lot that you could build here. And I encourage all of you who haven't done it to please start thinking about it, because we need to provide this service to the SMB mid-market to continue to prosper and take advantage of this massive opportunity that we talked about before. Now, what I'll also say is the second opportunity, and we can help here. This is exactly what ConnectWise is all about. And what I encourage you to really, really think about is you got to get the architecture right. And everything about AI starts with data. You'll get those 4 layers or 5 layers of the AI stack. Do you have the data? Because data is actually the oxygen of AI, or like Benioff likes to call it, the gold. And we've known that. We have known that for a long time. Data, the difference is now that we don't have to have data scientists and all of that. We have models that could be AI models that are intelligent and use that data for our benefit. So we as a business made an investment. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, this has taken way longer than it should have. I got some laughter in the back. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but we've taken way longer than it should have. We probably communicated it too early. We have put $100 million of investment in A0. That's what we put as a business, and it's come a long way. You're going to see a lot more about it tomorrow. The partner base is growing. The number of endpoints is growing. We're seeing folks that are using that are getting benefits as it pertains to costs or faster to deploy. And A0 is simply a centralized layer of data that we have. It is a tool consolidation, so we're taking a lot of the point products and merging them through simplification, so you can simplify your tool base, and then common services, UX, UI. But there's a lot of confusion. an incredible amount of confusion of what ASIO is. Is it a platform? Is it a product? Is it a solution? What is ASIO? I'm going to demystify it so we can maybe have a better conversation as you engage with all of us in the sales organization. Look, it starts with data. A centralized data lake, Snowflake, scales out. That could ingest data, you could extract data, whatever you want to do with that. There's a set of services on top, common services, authentication, UX, UI, and we'll continue to build those services with an automation stack inside there. And then sitting on top of that, there's a series of dashboards, and you'll see the engineering team talk about tomorrow other tools that are being integrated. Documentation is being integrated, things like customer feedback. So tools that you may use are being integrated into the platform as we speak. But what it truly is a tool, a PSA tool, an RMM tool, a cybersecurity product set tool, and a data protection set tool. Our job is to integrate into this, the ConnectWise portfolio, for infinite scale, because it's in a linear scale architecture out in the cloud. And we're far along, and tomorrow you're going to see a lot of this information. The second thing where I think there's a lot of confusion is we build a lot of features. These are just some of the features that we just released. And we take all those features and we import them into the platform. So think about us dropping features in every cycle, and it is coming to the platform. This thing is going to get smarter. It's the same product is going to get smarter. It's going to get better. It's going to get more sophisticated. And then we wrap it with AI. And you'll see some of that tomorrow. So we could start looking at agentic AI. We have some generative AI in the product. We could start looking, and obviously RPA in the product, but we could start looking at agentic AI inside the platform. So I want to challenge you to think about your business, to transform yourself from being IT providers, service providers, managing the IT environments, to really become these strategic AI partners of your businesses, to unleash the power of the change that we have and offer these proactive solutions. Now, the last slide I'm going to show you is this one. These are 10 ways that I think your business is going to be redefined. Feel free to take a picture. I'm going to walk you through just a few of them. The first is the way you deliver service. It's going to change from this reactive to a proactive, let's say, just ticket resolution. AI will allow you to open tickets and close tickets, and these agentic agents will help you do that. In addition to that, the way you interface with your clients. You know, email and calls, why? The generation that's coming up doesn't even use the phone. They're digitally native, and you're going to have to think about digital native, a way you interface with your client in a way you haven't done before. Pricing. Think about pricing for a second. Yeah, we love the per seat pricing, but if I get to impact a healthcare provider's business and or somebody in the legal space's business, and I can make them more productive, make them make more money, can I get to an outcome-based pricing model? And we, as an industry, are trying to figure that out right now. Because in an outcome-based pricing model, you only pay for the value you get. I only make if I give you value. So it could change the way we go to market from pricing. And the last thing I would say is obviously your role to become not an IT provider. You'll have to provide those services, but truly a provider, a transformational leader for AI. So look, I want to thank you for everything you do for us, the feedback. Please pull us aside, tell us anything you need. And you don't have to believe me on this data. We're going to bring a panel on stage of 3 MSPs of different sizes who are going through this transformation and are seeing these benefits right now. So to do that, I want to bring Peter back on stage. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Manny.
I'll sit here. I'll sit here.
So I can't wait to see what questions you're going to ask your boss and make him answer on stage in front of everybody, because I don't think you got to see him beforehand. So don't let us down.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. No pressure.
Well, it's kind of funny. It's Peter, Paul, Owen, and Manny. We need a Mary first.
There you go.
Well, Peter, for that, we'll start with you.
All right.
Peter Melby, CEO, New Charter Technologies, North America. This is truly IT Nation Global. We have a global panel for you here today, so really excited. Peter, how do you see the risks and opportunities that are here and that are coming for MSPs?
Yeah. Thanks. I think, as I've been thinking about risks and opportunities for the past, really couple of years. I think I could tell you the risks are that AI is going to take jobs, and the opportunity is you got to go sell AI to your clients, and you guys would be really, not enamored with that answer, because we hear that all the time. But there's a couple of perspectives. There's three things that I think are really important for MSPs to focus on. First is that the services are going to shift, where we have opportunities and needs. And so in the MSP industry, we've always had this spectrum of services that we can provide, from commoditized to specialized. Commoditized, sell a computer, sell a software license. Specialized, the business change, helping businesses change their operations. But most of our money, if we're honest, has been made in the middle. The labor heavy, help desk, support, monitoring, the core IT, legacy IT, and a lot of that. And I think that that's the first piece that's going to erode. That's what we're seeing. And so that's the risk to us, is that we have to be able to not just respond and be disrupted by the erosion of the middle. We have to lead that. We have to lead the push to the edges. And if we do that, then we can own the edges. The problem with that is that we're not really great historically as MSPs at the real highly specialized. And this opens up all kinds of new opportunities for us. I think that we need to get good at that, but we need to recognize that it's different DNA. So I say that. My second point on that is, I think that the people who are most bold about saying exactly what's going to happen in the future are the biggest liars. I think we don't know what's going to happen in that. And I think that Ryan Barton, our Chief Innovation Officer, tells me all the time, our job is to build for success in multiple futures. And so while we need to recognize that there is going to be change, we can't just become the best guessers in that. And the best way, the third point, to become the best guessers, is we cannot lose sight of the customer. The customer needs are not always what we pay attention to, especially when we get together and we talk about the technology and all that. The customer needs and the customers are what will lead us to the future of value.
Yeah, Paul Mangano IT, here all the way from Australia. You're seeing some stats up on the screen, pretty remarkable. And Paul, many of those are from your business, and this is what you're doing today. How did you get started? How did you jump in on automation and AI, and what did you see early on?
Actually, a lot of it is reflecting on what you shared earlier, Peter, around those curve jumps. So this is 20 years for Mangano IT, so we were involved in a lot of those curve jumps. And this just seemed like that next logical point in time where we need to evolve as MSPs. And what does that mean? I couldn't agree with you more, Peter, around the customer has to be front and center of what we deliver. We are professional services organizations that are there to support the business outcomes of our customers. They're not interested in buying a shiny new toy or a computer. It's us helping their teams deliver their business outcomes. And that service piece is what's key. So we need to become that modern MSP. So for us, what did that look like? So it's really about making sure that we meet the customers where they want to. So in our example, we use Thread at the front end, and we integrate in our customers' Teams environment. We have a chatbot in there, and then we connect that with ConnectWise RPA. So we have chat at the front, and ideally we want to deliver zero touch where possible. We listen to what the customer says. LLM connects that through to a bunch of at least 50 robots that our team have delivered in RPA. And what we want to do is achieve consistent delivery in a timely manner for our customers, because that's what great service is. That's what we all need to be striving towards. So, that delivery in RPA has really made a difference for us around some of the efficiencies that we see there. Having a really great outcome time and time again. If we think about what our tech people would normally do, would finish a ticket and the notes would be done. That's about it. So we really need to do better than that. So using the tools that we've got, we have really consistent, very clear and concise information in our ticketing. You talked about data, Manny. Forever we've been told to use configuration items, for example, make sure that data is hygienic. These examples and using the new tools, whether it's the hyperautomation or AI, this stuff matters now. It really matters and it makes a difference. So everything we've spoken about already really is part of developing what we refer to as a modern MSP, and that's what we're there to deliver.
So you're not only delivering the automation, the incredible statistics you're seeing up on the board, but you're seeing improvements in CSAT at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, when you have the tools to get through the workload that maybe you were struggling with historically, it naturally evolves and it accelerates, it snowballs, right? So when, using the tools, using the hyperautomation, we can get through more work using effectively less people, and I appreciate that that's potentially concerning for some people, but the reality is we share that message with our team that your job's not going to be taken by AI quite yet. Your job will be taken by somebody who's using AI. That's really what our people need to understand, and it's about being willing and being curious about how we can utilize these to support our customers.
Great. Owen, coming from the other direction, joining us from our European partner base. Owen's the IT director of BDR Group in EMEA. Owen, how do you suggest MSPs should go about discovering what automation and AI opportunities lie within their customer base? You already have been seeing a lot of success with these kind of opportunities. How have you uncovered those opportunities?
So it's really understanding the verticals you're working in. You've mentioned about kind of ideal customer profiles as a managed service provider. You are that point of contact. You are that source of truth for them. You are who they look to when they think about AI or anything which has a cable plugged into it, if we're honest. So when we're talking about AI with them, we need to understand what their challenges are, what the low-hanging fruit is, what the biggest efficiency drains they have are, and help them overcome those challenges. I was at Automation Nation earlier, where they were talking about running lunch and learns for your customers and pulling people in from the same verticals and letting them talk about their challenges in front of you so that you can be seen as the thought leadership to do with AI, but you're actually uncovering all of these opportunities from all of these different entities to build and productize an AI product set for them so that when you're talking to them or other people within those verticals, you can go with almost a productized IT offering and say, this is what we can deliver. This is the ROI it's delivered within these other companies we've worked with. So it becomes a much cleaner conversation than the majority of AI conversations that you have with customers of, we want AI. Well, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to deliver it? What are your challenges? If you've got those pre-productized versions of AI, you can actually really go out with it as an offering and monetize it.
You do a lot in healthcare. You have some great examples of some automation initiatives that you've done for some of your healthcare customers.
Yeah.
Want to talk about any of those?
So we work a lot in the NHS. We've got about 44 NHS trusts on our books. One of the key examples that comes to mind is a referral system. So in the UK, the National Healthcare Service is kind of covers the whole of the UK. But they all have separate regions, and each region gets to decide what it does and doesn't do. And the region that we were working with had a GP referral scheme where the GPs and community and other entities would refer mental health cases and a few other cases into this centralized body. And the referrals were taking up to 6 months to get turned around, and that's just a remarkable amount of time. So we went in there, worked with the team, built up a proof of concept, standardized the way that these referrals were coming in, and by the end of that project, referrals were being put through and responded to within 24 hours. And the good thing, like you mentioned earlier, is RPA and AI are very consistent in their delivery. So you don't get those Friday night jobs of kind of everyone's getting ready to go to the pub, and yeah, they kind of half completed that. Once this is in, it's been pretty much 100% successful.
Wow, incredible. So you took that process down from 6 months to a referral to 24 hours.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. I would think customers would pay for that type of improvement.
Yeah, they very much did.
Yeah. So Manny, you spoke a few minutes ago about the importance of data with AI and the importance of having centralized data. How do you think that's going to impact MSPs over the next few years, and how are you looking at that as CEO of ConnectWise?
I mean, you have incredible data about your end customers, right? There's no question about that. It just has to be organized, clean, and a structure that you can apply AI to it over time. So that's a hygiene effort that everybody here needs to take on. And by the way, it's an effort that we ourselves inside our business have taken on to make sure that as we run ConnectWise, we're much more efficient. And it really does start with having good understanding of your data and then asking the question, what is it I'm trying to solve? And then if you can answer that through the data, then you can create some incredible solutions, whether it be automation solutions, as I said, ML solutions, AI, or agentic solutions, right? You'll climb that curve as far as you need to climb it. And it's just a delivery mechanism. Automation might require some human intervention. You get to agentic and you can let it go on its own, but it's all about the data. So when we talk about the models may hallucinate, if your data's poor, the models will always be wrong. So you have to get that data sorted out. And we have a strong belief in the way we're building our products that if we centralize that data and we provide consistency, then it will be easier for you to do your job also.
Yeah, great. So in this audience, we have 4,000 people. We have a massive range of MSP sizes, some solos all the way up to $1 billion of revenue MSPs now, everything in between. Peter, you built an MSP from scratch and now you're running a large platform MSP. How can both the large platform providers all the way down to the smaller MSPs take advantage and win with AI and automation?
Yeah. I think it's less to me about winning with AI and automation and just winning in a new future, winning in a new era. And how many of you at some point in the last year have had that anxiety where you feel like you're behind with AI? I can't see anybody, but I'm assuming that you're all either raising your hand or you're too scared to raise your hand, but everybody's felt it. So here's the thing. We're not really behind each other, but we are definitely behind what the client needs in this. And so when you asked me to do this panel, Manny told me I could say whatever I want. So you plug your ears or something, earmuffs. But there's a mindset shift that I think we need as MSPs. And I think we need to recognize that the vendors and even the most successful vendors and solution providers for us are not the heroes. This industry does not orbit around our vendors. The industry needs to orbit around our customers. And the vendors orbit around us. And I'm joking because we've had this conversation. It's been great because I think that where the vendors really started this industry, and named it and, helped so much to create value, so much value creation. This next era is ours as the providers. And the thing that I'm encouraged about, and Chris Luis, our COO, and I, we saw the ASIO thing from the very early stages. I mean, that was like 12 years ago, I think.
So can you raise his prices? He's obviously getting a lot of value.
No, I think that the thing that I'm so encouraged by in this is that you recognize that you and that platform and the data structures and all of that are enablers for us. So we talk about, really quick, how we are going to succeed, whether it's a $400 million platform like New Charter or your standalone MSP, is that we have different advantages. But at the end of the day, everything you talk about, data, AI, automation, all those things, true, but it is going to take a long time before our customer trusts that more than they trust a person. And that trust is going to be paramount in this. And so trust, at scale, we've had an opportunity to acquire, an AI startup, and apply that to our own strategy, and it's been great because we believe that it's our job to orchestrate these things, and anytime the industry creates, there's new stuff, we got to put that puzzle together. And the new pieces of the puzzle are all shaped like circles. Like we have to be the ones to fill in the gaps in that. But the thing that small providers have is agility and scrappiness. And if you really look at what's happening with AI right now, most of the impact is happening people who are close to the customer, close to the problem, understand all of these things. And so we have different advantages in this. Our job at New Charter is to build the best of both worlds, to have the loyalty and have the scrappiness and be close to the customer while we're building the solutions at scale. But I promise you, if you follow the customer, you don't have to worry about the MSP next to you because you will know how to create value. You will create value, and there's plenty of runway for that if we recognize that it's our job to own that future.
I want to add one small thing to that. The SMB and the mid-market enterprise and the enterprise that you guys support doesn't want to become an AI expert. They just want to run their business. But they want to run it much more efficiently and effectively than they've ever run it before to do things like you did, right, for them. So there's a gap that's being created. The question is who's going to service that gap? And you're in the best position to service that gap. But that gap is different than providing IT services. That gap is, as Owen pointed out, providing consulting also services, understanding the issue. That is the opportunity. And Peter, I agree with you. That's not mine to solve or ConnectWise to solve. We're an enabler to help you build on top. It is this community's issue to solve, and we'll help. We'll help through Evolve, we'll help through training, we'll help through whatever we can do. We'll help through panels of folks that are doing it. But that's your opportunity, and it is a massive market.
So, Paul, we saw the stats. They were up on the board. Your business has been radically transformed for efficiency and your customer experience. Have you seen any difference in the skill sets of employees that you're looking for now? Has AI and automation changed the mix at all?
Absolutely. We probably like to see ourselves as the scrappy, agile partner. And one of the things we've done in developing our team is we now that we have these tools available to us, and if we go back to our roots of being a customer-focused organization, then let's do exactly that. So at frontline people, it's a thankless job on the help desk, right? People aren't calling to say good day, they've got a drama, right? So what we want to do is we want to have really engaging frontline team members, and more often than not, they're not necessarily the most technically minded people. So what we do is we utilize the customer-focused team that don't necessarily have great technical skills, but that's okay. We use our automation to deliver those repeatable tasks really well each and every time while our great communicators are talking to our customers. So while something's being resolved through automation, our frontline people are just engaging with our customer because I mean, it's a great sales pathway, but actually talking to our customers. So if you can turn that help desk call around to firstly deliver consistently in a timely manner and also sort of talk about, well, how else is everything going? That's an engagement that is a significant difference to a traditional help desk. And that's really what we're trying to do. Put our customer back in front and center of our organization by giving our team the space through automation to talk to our customers again. So it's a different kind of person on our front line now.
Yeah, very interesting. Owen, any role that you see for MSPs with compliance and governance and AI as your customers are coming to you, what do they need help with this?
Everything. Every CEO you meet, every owner of a company says, I want AI. No CEO or owner of a company says, I want governance and compliance over all of my data and information. But that's where you have to start with them and explain, once you open the door of AI to whatever data you're pointing it at, it's got full access to that data. I think it was Dodge who ended up selling a car for $1 because somebody prompt engineered their way into making it happen, and the court upheld that. The opposite can also happen where one of your internal employees, or if you're getting it external facing, could access data that they really shouldn't have to. And you could end up with companies going bust on the basis of having implemented AI. It's our job as those thought leaders and the managed service providers to help them go through that governance and compliance journey, help them know how to actually utilize this correctly, and make sure that it isn't a risk to the companies we look after, but actually it is that boon that they're looking for.
Great. And Manny, of course, I'm going to give you the final word. So any last advice for MSPs
I think
getting into AI?
Yeah, two things. Get started. And understand one thing, if you feel you're behind, that the language models that are being developed are getting more powerful by the day. So even if you were behind, these language models are going to enable you to catch up incredibly, incredibly quickly. But do what you're hearing from the audience here. Make sure you understand what the problem is that the end user has, because that's where you unlock the true value. So get started.
Great. Round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. Want to take this with you?
Thanks,
Well, we covered a lot in that panel, and we know you like to take pictures of the screen, so we put a checklist up here for you to help get started. But the key point is the foundations are there, the opportunity is there. It's up to you to take advantage of the opportunity and to get started. A few reminders for you before we wrap. Number one is you will not want to miss the innovation keynote tomorrow, and instead of putting it first thing in the morning, we knew we had a big party tonight, so we put the innovation keynote at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So you'll be all rested up, ready to go, fully caffeinated. Okay, don't miss it, it's gonna be great. And last is come back here. We mentioned the guitars. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can see. We are ready to go tonight at 9 o'clock. Rock the Nation doors will open at 9 o'clock. And thank you to our sponsors, Evergreen, Microsoft, Nerdio, Pax8, and Slide. Now, I don't know if Slide thought about naming their company so that they could sponsor the Goo Goo Dolls, but genius if they did. And again, it's going to be, we're going to be there to support Canines for Warriors. You won't want to miss it. Back here at 9 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Again, have a wonderful IT Nation Connect. Take advantage of the week. We'll see you again soon.